opponent states that in the
Hello,
original formation
humans.
of a mountain range, the granite and other elements in its composition were, by reason of their high
I don't
temperature,
know.
in a fluid or molten state.
I'm
That the
struggling.
temperature must have amounted to some 480 degrees Fahrenheit, and that when the mass took shape, it was covered by the sea. You reply by an
This
argument
is the
ad
now.
auditores,
I don't know.
that at that temperature, nay, indeed, long before it had been reached, namely at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, the sea would
975
have been boiled away
version
and spread through the
of
air
me
in the form
trying
of
to
steam.
talk.
At this, the audience laughs.
But
To refute the objection, your opponent would need to show that the boiling
humans
point
would
depends
find
not only on
that
the degree of
pretty
warmth,
weird.
but
What
also on the
with
atmospheric
me
pressure,
is,
and that
you know.
as soon as about half the seawater had gone off in the shape of
But
steam, this pressure would be so greatly
I'm
increased that
struggling.
the rest of it would fail to boil, even at a temperature
Don't know
of
what to
480
say.
degrees.
Don't know what to do.
He is debarred from giving this explanation, as it would require a treatise to demonstrate the matter to those who had no acquaintance with physics.
Listening to Schopenhauer,
29.
but
Section
it
18.
seems
If you find that you are
languages.
being worsted, you can
Listening
make
to
a diversion.
Schopenhauer
That is, you can suddenly begin
should
to talk
not
of something
really
else, as though
help,
it
I
had a bearing
guess.
on the matter in dispute, and afforded an argument against your opponent. This may be done without presumption if the diversion has, in fact, some general bearing on the matter, but it
This
is a piece
video
of impudence
may
if it has nothing to do with the case, and
be
it's only brought in by way of attacking your opponent.
a
For
little
example,
bit
I praise the
autistic.
system prevailing in China, where there is no such thing as hereditary nobility, and offices are bestowed only on those who succeed in competitive
There's a stinking
examinations.
bug.
My opponent
Came
maintained that
in
learning, as little as the privilege of birth,
because of the
of which
light.
he had a high opinion,
Then
fits a man for
it
office.
crawled in the curtain.
We argued, and he got the worst of it.
Then made
Then he made a diversion
jump scare.
and declared that in China all ranks were punished
Flow
with the bastinado,
to
which he
the
connected
ceiling.
with the immoderate
Crawled on the
indulgence in
ceiling.
tea, and proceeded
Then I
to make
blinked.
both of them a subject of reproach to the Chinese.
In that second,
To follow
it
him into all
disappeared.
this would have been to allow oneself to be drawn into
You know,
a surrender of the victory which had already
there's
been won.
one thing
A
worse
diversion is mere
than a
impudence
stinking bug
if it
in
completely
the room.
abandons the point in dispute and raises, for
It's a
instance,
stinking bug in
some
the
such
room, and you
objection as,
don't know where it is.
yes, and you also said just now, and so on. For then the argument becomes to some extent personal, of the kind which
Ja,
will be treated
Chantilly.
of in the last section.
Ich weiß, ich rede
Strictly
Englisch
speaking,
und
it
du
is
willst
halfway
schlafen.
between the
My
argumentum
cat
ad
is saying,
personam,
"Grrr."
which will there be discussed, and the argumentum ad hominem.
But I need to
How very innate this trick is may
put
be
this
seen in every
somewhere.
quarrel between common people.
I'm
If one
fucking
of the parties
tired.
makes some personal reproach against the
I'm so
other,
tired
the latter,
of being
instead of
alone.
answering it by refuting it,
I'm so
allows it to
tired of
stand,
talking
as
and
it were,
talking and
admits it,
talking,
and replies by
and next
reproaching his
day
antagonist on some other
deciding
ground.
this is
This is a
not
stratagem like that pursued by Scipio
good.
when he attacked
You
the
can't
Carthaginians,
show
not in
this to
Italy, but in
humans.
Africa. In war,
Humans
diversions of this
will
kind may
say
be profitable,
you are
but in a
weird.
quarrel they are poor expedients,
But
because the reproaches
no
remain,
apology.
and those who look on
No
hear the worst
apologize.
that can be said of both parties. It is a trick that should be used only
No
faute de mieux.
apologistogetic.
30. This is the
I'm not
argumentum
sorry
ad
for who I am.
verecundiam. It consists in making an appeal to authority rather than reason, and in using such an authority
not
as may
sorry.
suit the degree of knowledge possessed by your opponent. Every man prefers belief to the exercise of judgment, says Seneca, and it is
That's
therefore
pretty
an easy
out of
matter
context,
if you
I
have an
know.
authority on your side which your opponent respects. The more limited his capacity and knowledge, the greater is the number of the authorities who weigh with him. But if his capacity and knowledge are of a high order, there are very few, indeed hardly any at all. He may perhaps admit the authority of professional men versed in a science or an art or a handicraft of which he knows little or nothing, but even so he will regard it with suspicion.
This is
Contrarily,
Germany,
ordinary folk
not
have a deep
illegal,
respect for professional men of every
and
kind.
it's
They are unaware that a man
medical.
who makes a profession of a thing loves it not for the thing
Medical
itself,
stuff.
but for the money he makes by it, or that it is rare for a man who teaches to know his subject
You can't
thoroughly.
show this
For
anyone.
if he studies it
Stop it
as
now.
he ought, he has in most cases no time left in which to teach it. But there are very many authorities who find respect with the mob,
Or
and
maybe
if you have none, that is quite suitable.
I
You can
forgot.
take one that appears to be so. You can quote what some said in another sense or in other circumstances.
Ugh.
Authorities which your opponent fails to
I have
understand
to
are those of which he
get
generally
my
thinks
mind
the
back
most.
to work.
The unlearned entertain a peculiar respect for a Greek or a Latin flourish.
Ugh.
You may also, should it be necessary, not only
That's
twist
rude.
your authority,
You
but
have put your
actually
hand on the
falsify
mouth
them,
if you yawn.
or quote something which you have invented entirely
Excuse
yourself.
me not.
As a rule, your opponent has no books at hand.
I'm just talking to myself again.
A fine illustration of this is furnished by the French
To
curé,
distract me
who,
from
to avoid
staring
being
at the
compelled, like
point
other
where I
citizens,
guess
to
the
pay the
stinking
street
bug
in front
must
of his
be.
house, quoted a saying which he described as biblical.
I need something to drink.
Habeant
1 second,
illi
please.
ego restored, or Catholicism re-established in all Protestant countries. They must assume, too,
Entschuldigung,
that distance of space has
Verlaut,
the
ich
same
weiß.
effect. Otherwise, the respective universality of opinion amongst the adherents of Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam will put them in a difficulty. When we come to look into the matter, so-called universal opinion is the opinion of
What
2
are you
or 3
doing?
persons, and we should be persuaded of this if we could see the way in which it really arises. We should find that it is 2 or 3 persons who, in the first instance, accepted or advanced and
To the
maintained it,
humans,
and of whom people were so good as to
or to
believe that they
myself,
had thoroughly tested
who
it.
knows it?
Then a few other persons, persuaded beforehand that the first were men of the requisite capacity, also accepted the opinion. These again were trusted by many others, whose laziness
I don't know what I
suggested to them
should
that
talk
it was
about.
better to believe at once than to go through the troublesome task of testing the matter for themselves. Thus, the number of these lazy and credulous adherents grew from day to day.
I have to
For the
talk
opinion had no
with
sooner obtained a fair
someone.
measure of support than its further supporters attributed this to the fact that the opinion could only
Because
have
being
obtained
lonely
it by the cogency of
isn't
its
solitude
arguments.
anymore.
The remainder were then compelled to grant what was universally granted, so as not to pass for unruly persons who resisted opinions which everyone accepted, or pert
Grieving
fellows
is not
who thought themselves cleverer than anyone else. When an opinion reaches
capable
this stage,
anymore.
adhesion
What?
becomes a duty, and
This was not
henceforward
a
the few
good
who are capable of
sentence.
forming a judgment hold their peace. Those who venture to speak are such as are entirely incapable
I
of forming
said?
any opinions or any judgment of their own, being merely the echo of others' opinions, and nevertheless they defend them with all the greater zeal and intolerance. For what they hate in people who think differently is not so much the different opinions which they profess,
I would
as the presumption of wanting to form their own judgment, a
say
presumption of which they themselves are never guilty,
soon the
as
stinking
they are
bug
very
will
well aware.
fly against
In
my
short,
head.
there are very few who can think, but
Then
every man wants to
it
have an
will
opinion,
be
and what remains but
angry
to take
because
it
I
ready-made
am
from
here.
others, instead of forming opinions for himself.
And what
Conceited
am I
or
doing in
happiness,
my
where is the
home?
value of the opinions of 100 millions?
How
It is no more established than
I
in
should not
historical
here
fact
be.
reported by 100 chroniclers,
Yeah,
who can be
good
proved to have
English.
plagiarized it from one another, the opinion in the end being traceable to a single individual.
Okay.
Footnote. See Bales, Pensées sur les comètes, Volume 1,
A
page
little
10.
bit of
End
struggling
footnote.
over here.
It is all what I say, what you say, and finally what he says, and the whole of it is nothing but a series of assertions.
Humans.
Dico ego, tu dicis, sed
I
venice
think
dixit et ille. Dictaque post toties. Nil nisi dicta
I'm
ides.
autistic.
Nevertheless, in a dispute with ordinary people,
But
we may employ universal
I'm
opinion as an authority.
a woman,
For it will
and I
generally be
learned how
found
to
that when
mask
two of
before
them
I
are fighting,
even
that is the weapon which both of them
learned
choose
how
as
to
a means
think.
of attack. If a man of the better sort has to deal with them, it is most
28
advisable
years
for
I
him to
masked
condescend to the use
in
of this
front of
weapon too,
myself
and to select such authorities
without
as will
knowing.
make an impression on his opponent's weak side.
And
For
then
ex hypoiesi, he is as
last
insensible
year,
to all rational argument as a horny-hided Siegfried,
suddenly
in the
everything
flood
made
of
sense.
incapacity and unable to think or judge. Before a tribunal, the dispute is one between authorities alone. Such authoritative statements, I mean,
It's
as are
cool.
laid down by legal experts.
I
And
thought I
here, the
was
exercise of judgment
just something
consists in
else.
discovering what law or
Meanwhile,
authority applies to the
at
case in
first I
question.
thought, oh no, what's
There is,
wrong
however,
with me?
plenty
I
of
have
room for
to
dialectic.
change, I
For
have
should the case in
to
question
do, I
and the
have to
law not
make
really
a
fit
blah
each
blah
other,
blah.
they can, if necessary, be twisted until
Because
they appear
humans
to do
will
so,
think I'm
or
weird.
vice versa.
And guess what?
End of section 5.
Nonetheless, humans thought I'm weird.
Start of controversy.
I think humans are
This
weird.
is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please
I
visit
think I can't
LibriVox.org.
think because Schopenhauer's
This reading by
audio
Carl
book
Manchester,
is
2010.
talking.
The Art of Controversy by Arthur
I
Schopenhauer.
don't want something
Translated
else.
by T. Bailey Saunders. 31.
Humans, can you help me?
If you know that you have
what
no
to
reply
do
to the arguments
against
which your opponent
struggling?
advances, you may, by a fine stroke of
Struggling
argument,
is
declare yourself to be an
really,
incompetent judge.
really
What you
annoying.
now say passes my poor powers of comprehension.
Actually, I want to
It may be
wanted
all
to
very
paint
true, but I can't
some
understand it, and I
flowers,
refrain from any expression
but
of
then
opinion
came
on
the
it.
stinking bug, and
In
I
this
have
way,
to
you
turn out the
insinuate to
light
bystanders
because
with whom you are in
it
good
goes
repute
where the light
that what your
shines.
opponent
Not
says
like
is
bees
nonsense.
or wasps,
Thus,
they
when
bump
Kant's
into
critique
the light.
appeared, or
And
rather,
also not
when it
like
began to make a
moths,
noise in
they
the
made
world,
this
many
one.
professors of the old eclectic school
The
declared
stinking
that they
bugs go
failed to
there
understand it,
where the light is
in the
shining.
belief that their failure
Also,
settled the business. But
also
when the
is not
adherents of
an
the new
English
school
word.
proved to them that they were quite right and had really failed
In the
to
direction
understand
of the
it,
light
they were
rays,
in a very bad
the bug
humour.
is going.
This is a trick which may be used
I've
only when
learned
you are quite sure
meanwhile.
that the audience thinks much better of you than of
I
your
don't know.
opponent. A professor, for instance, may try it on a student. Strictly,
1 second
it is a
ago,
case of the preceding trick.
I was
It
way
is a
too hot.
particularly malicious
Now
assertion of one's own
I
authority
start to
instead
freeze.
of giving reasons. The counter trick is to say, I beg your pardon, but with your penetrating intellect, it must be very easy for you to understand anything.
Penetrating
And it can only
intellect.
be my poor statement
Something
of the
like,
matter that is at fault. And then go on.
Something like, I don't know. Everything's bad. Lol. What is going on? I want something else. I want something else. I want something else. YouTube is stupid. Did I mention that? Okay, I know what I'm doing now. I think the stinking bug shivered its wings somewhere. Last thing I recognized was that it dropped from somewhere and it made clock, because they are like armor plate bodyguard gang member of some armored, you know. The more I think about it, the more I start to spiral, and everything feels like it's crawling on my back, and my hair is but I know that it's not there, I would smell it. It's so stupid. It's just just some problem my brain creates to distract myself from the real problems I have. But the problems are not that I have the problem, but the problem are that the humans have problems with who I am. I wish more humans would be like me. Would be a better world, I think. Oh, big words, blah blah. Of course, supreme human being I am. No, actually, just some naked ape with talking problems. Sitting in a concrete box, watching glowing squares while recording myself talking to myself. That's the best thing you can do, actually. No, not the best. Some not so loud. 1 second, please. I have to do something. A secret something.